Namaste. Welcome to this lecture series on G-Acoustics. In today's lecture, we are going to talk about three topics. The first one is the soundproofing. Second is STC. Third, STC versus NRC. Coming to the first topic, soundproofing. And we hope you had been following this lecture series starting from part 1, part 2 and coming to this. So what is soundproofing? Soundproofing, in other words, is also called as isolation. Like for example, let us take there is a wall or a barrier, right? Now there is a sound that is coming from outside and you are within a room and this is a barrier, right? What should happen is this sound which is coming from outside has to be dampened, right? It should be dampened as much as possible. When we take a room, whether it is for a cinema or a home theater or for whichever may be the application, we should evaluate whether the outside noise is going to affect you inside this particular room. Then we need to do the soundproofing for the four walls. We need to do also for the floor. And we also have to do for the ceiling. So these things are very important. Let me give an analogy which I have explained in the previous lecture also. Let us take a tank of water, right? You have a small hole drilled into that. Will the water stay there? So it will leak off, right? Same way, a room which is a soundproof room should not have any leakage. So any small leakage in a room is considered a weakness. So because sound is going to take the least resistant part. There are two categories of noise. One we call it as airborne noise. Another is the structure borne noise. Now what are these? Now airborne noise is the noise that is traveling through the air, right? And what is the structure-borne noise? Structure-borne noise is something which is coming because of the structure. Like for example, there is a railway track nearby, and this is my studio. Okay, what happens every time the train passes? What happens because of the vibration? The vibration gets transferred through the earth to the building structure and into the room. So the vibration will be felt inside the room. Okay, then we need to isolate the floor so that the vibration is not felt. Okay, those are structure-borne noise. The structure-borne noise exists at less than 100 Hertz and airborne noise all above 100 Hertz. So these two are very critical. So that's why when it comes to soundproofing a specific room, we need to be very clear about what is the application, what is the environment, where the exact location of this particular room is. All that are crucial. It's not only the wall, even the doors, the windows, everything has to be taken care. So another parameter that we talk about is transmission loss. Now what is transmission loss? Transmission of sound from outside to inside, as I mentioned, okay, it has to reduce here. Outside noise, suppose if it is say 100 dB, right? Outside noise is 100 dB, let us assume. The same noise, after the soundproofing is done, say if it is measuring say 40 dB, the same noise, then there is a difference of 60 dB. So transmission loss is nothing but the dB difference between the outside and the inside, right? So in this case, the dB level outside is 100 dB and the decibel level inside the room is 40. So minus 40 and we get a 60 decibel. So let us consider a typical room, something like this, where soundproofing has to be done. Now this is a concrete ceiling on the top and this is a floor, and let us assume between the two rooms there is a partition. This can be a civil wall or it can be a dry wall partition, and most of the offices they have false ceiling, right? False ceiling. Now this is a typical room assume that okay, this particular room is being used for a studio. Now, what are the requirement of a soundproofing? Now here let us analyze what are the problems that are going to come in this room as far as sound isolation is concerned. First thing, let us consider the floor. The floor, you should make sure that there is no structural vibration which is going to come inside the room. The floor, we will make it as a suspended floor. If it is a dry wall, then there is a problem, because this dry wall, which normally they use a couple of gypsum board and with an airspace in between, this is not at all a soundproofing wall. It is a very basic normal wall. And we have specific material to be used as an isolation between the two rooms. Now coming to the ceiling part. Now there's a false ceiling, okay, and see, there are many of these tiles, they call it as an acoustic tile and all that, is all is not really worth that, and it's not a great acoustic material. See, because there is another typical problem between the rooms is, we call that as a flanking noise. That is, it will travel through this path. So as I mentioned, the sound will take the least resistant path. Now we are going to use a very thin tile. The sound in this room is going to pass through the ceiling. It goes up and it comes to this room. You may have the best soundproof wall, but this is going to create a lot of problem. So soundproofing a room involves taking care of each and everything, and openings, windows. Now whether the windows, the material that is used, whether that is the right type of material, whether they have the right type of isolation that is there, and coming to the doors, whether the door is a specific soundproof door or with a specific rating. All these need to be taken care. Coming to the second topic, STC. So what is STC? It's sound transmission class. STC, it does not have any unit like dB or anything. It is just a number. STC as a number, okay? Now, STC, for example, STC 25 is a rating. This is based on some international standard. Now, let me explain the two extreme difference. Like for example, STC 25, it means the normal speech is easily heard, okay? For example, this wall, okay, or a particular door is rated as STC 25. It means that when somebody is going to talk in a normal voice outside, it is going to be easily heard inside, right? That is STC. And there are STC 30, 35 like that. Let us go to 50. STC 50 will help even if there is a loud noise speaking loudly outside the room, it won't be heard inside. Means you can't understand what they are talking about. It won't be, and it will be very faint, okay? That is STC 50 rating. Now above STC 60 is excellent. So this is how the rating class. So what it means, what is this number means? So higher the number, if STC is higher, is better. Higher the STC, better is that particular material. Standard, it specifies a frequency range between 125 Hz to 4000 Hz. This is nothing but the speech frequency, right? Speech frequency. So which means STC can be applied only in case of rooms where you are going to be concerned only about the speech frequencies. So what does that mean? Like for example, if this room is being used for a recording room, recording studio, then STC rating is not going to help, because it concerns only about the speech frequency. Whereas a meeting room, yes, STC rating is important because we are concerned only about the speech. So this is the most important thing. So sometimes I'm surprised when people talk about I have a STC rating of this, I've done a very good studio with this type of STC rating. No use. STC rating is not at all applicable for a studio or even for a home theater where we are talking about the whole audio frequency range. Less than 125 Hz the low frequency is always a problematic frequency which is created inside a room. So it's very important when a soundproofing is done for a specific room. It's not just the STC rating that is important. There are other parameters that we consider. That is about the STC, what this parameter is about. I will put in this particular a slide which talks about the different STC rating from 25 to 60, what exactly each one of it means. So this STC rating normally you can see for windows, some when it is marketed as acoustic windows, acoustic doors, soundproof windows, soundproof doors, they come with a STC rating. And this STC rating alone is not important. This is one of the measurement method used for sound isolation. So in a nutshell, for example, STC 25 means 25 dB isolation you can get. That is, if outside noise is 100, then inside it will be 100 minus 25, it is 75. Coming to the third topic, STC versus NRC. NRC, what is that? Is a noise reduction coefficient, which we dealt about it in one of our lecture. NRC value, again, this is a unitless thing. It is measured between 0 and 1, right? Noise reduction coefficient is a specification for a specific acoustic material or for any material we talk about, right? Now, when we say NRC is 1, okay, when NRC is, it can be either 0 or anywhere between 0 and 1, right? 1 is an excellent absorber and this one is a poor absorber, right? This is what we learned in the previous lecture. This is talking about the absorption property of a material within a room. So the basic difference between STC and NRC is STC is related to soundproofing between the outside and inside of the room, whereas NRC is a parameter of a particular material used inside the room so that you get the right acoustics inside the room. And we spoke about the reverberation time RT60, for which these parameters are important. Please keep in mind that soundproofing and room acoustics are two different things. So in many cases people mix up and do a single homogeneous material they put and say this is an acoustic room. Certainly not. So first you need to take care of the soundproofing. Once it is completed, the soundproofing is done, then comes the room acoustics. Thanks for watching this lecture. If you have any questions related to this lecture or any of my previous lectures, please email to ganesh@gacoustics.com.